First, let's explain the important concepts. Because the basic characteristic of the shadow is that it's contained in the unconscious, it's important to clarify what the unconscious, the conscious, and the shadow are. The unconscious is a broader term, and it includes all psychological aspects that are not conscious, that is, all those that we are not aware of. It may seem that if something is called the unconscious, it doesn't exist, or it's some area of something that acts passively, it's not important to us, and it has no impact on us. But this, of course, isn't true. The unconscious certainly exists. It's very important to us. And the unconscious aspects do not behave passively, unfortunately. The shadow can be seen as a particular aspect of the unconscious, but it's not equivalent to the unconscious. It's a particular specific aspect that acts as an independent element and has certain character traits, and it forms a complex intangible entity that has its own nature and its own dynamics that affects us. Next, let's describe the conscious a little. The conscious is the sum or the collection of everything in us that we are able to be aware of. This collection can include experiences, memories, opinions, attitudes, learned abilities and skills, and so on. It might occur to you that what we see and hear in our environment can also be included in our conscious, since we are able to become aware of it through our senses. But this isn't true. What we see, feel, or hear in our environment is really only experienced within ourselves. There are no external situations in the conscious. External situations travel to us through our senses, and only within us, in our inner conscious, do we then interpret them. And this is a very important realization. We then judge and interpret what we see in the outside world according to what is inside of us. Our consciousness, and especially our unconsciousness, determines how we see anything in the outside world. We will explain this a little more in the next chapters, but let's define a little more in detail what the shadow is. Like an actual physical shadow as a physical phenomenon, the psychological shadow occurs, figuratively speaking, behind the person. The term behind is used because we are usually unaware of it. That is, it stands behind the conscious. It's behind the person because it follows us wherever we go. And like the physical shadow, we are also able to become aware of or see the psychological shadow with some retrospection by looking back or behind us. The only fundamental difference between the physical shadow and the psychological shadow is the fact that we are able to move these unconscious shadow aspects from our unconscious into the conscious, or figuratively speaking, into the light. And this process, which is referred to as a shadow integration, is one of the most important processes in our spiritual growth. The similarity of the words conscious and unconscious shows us that the concepts and the meanings are closely related, and therefore a relationship definitely exists between them. If there is something in the unconscious and we can move it into the conscious, it will bring us a certain expansion of knowledge and enrichment. Conversely, if we place something conscious in the unconscious, for example, traumatic events from childhood because of their painfulness, or typically more primitive drives and instincts, we are losing something. And if we don't rediscover them, they will call attention to themselves, because they are something that was once a part of us, which we lost touch with.